Seven-time title holder's son, Mick Schumacher, aged 23, is a German racing driver who was recently let go from the Haas F1 team. Mick, who is an F2 champion, will now join Mercedes as a reserve. What details do we have about this? Also, Mick Schumacher hopes to make a full-time return in 2024. What are his best chances to achieve this? Keep watching to find out. Starting off, Mick Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel will compete together outside of Formula One. In Sweden, in January 2023, Sebastian Vettel and Mick Schumacher will partner up once more for the Race of Champions. As they take on the Rock Challenge for the third time, the team will try to once more prove their mettle on the ice. The 2023 Formula One season will not have Mick Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel as full-time drivers. The four-time world champion confirmed his retirement from the sport following the 2022 Formula One season. The F2 champion, on the other hand, left Haas and will start driving for Mercedes as a third driver. Sebastian Loeb, a renowned rally driver, finished ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the drivers' class of the 2022 Rock. He shared 6 Nations Cup victories with Mick Schumacher's father, Michael Schumacher. Sebastian Vettel said of the next contest that he is happy that Mick will be accompanying him at the Race of Champions again for his first race since he retired from Formula One. He then said that since none of them had any experience with snow and ice before going to Sweden earlier this year, there was a significant learning curve. Sebastian Vettel remarked that he managed to surprise himself by defeating Sebastian Loeb in the solo final, and now he can't wait to come back and team up with Mick to see if they can take Team Germany to another Rock Nations Cup victory. In 2023, Mick Schumacher will drive as a reserve for Mercedes. 2020 F2 champion Schumacher competed in 2 seasons with Haas, but was replaced in 2023 by Nico Hülkenberg because the team preferred his compatriots' 181 Grand Prix of experience to help them advance up the midfield. Toto Wolff, the head of Mercedes, publicly expressed his desire to look after Schumacher after hearing the news of his departure from Haas and cited his family's connections to the company. Michael, Mick's 7-time champion father, competed for Mercedes in sports cars and the DTM before switching to driving in Formula One, while his uncle Ralph and cousin David have all driven for Mercedes in a variety of racing categories. In response to the news that Schumacher would take over Mercedes' reserve position, Wolff said that Mick is a talented young driver, and they are delighted to have him join the team. The team's 2 2022 reserve drivers, Nick de Vries and Stoffel Vandoorne, have found berths at AlphaTauri in a race seat and Aston Martin as a reserve. Mick works hard, approaches problems calmly and methodically, and is still eager to pick up new skills and become a better driver. All of these are significant qualities, and we are eager for him to assist us in creating the W14. Wolff continued by saying that they know that with 2 years of Formula One racing experience under his belt, he will be prepared to get into the car at a moment's notice and replace either Lewis Hamilton or George Russell should the need arise. Concerning his new position, Schumacher stated that he is overjoyed to be a reserve driver for the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team in 2023. He then said that he pledges to give it everything he has to help them perform well in this highly professional and competitive environment. Schumacher further stated that he sees this as a fresh start, and Toto and everyone else involved has his sincere gratitude for having faith in him. He said that he is excited to learn more about the fascinating world of Formula One and to give his all to the Mercedes team by putting out his best efforts. Before the November announcement that Daniel Ricciardo would rejoin the Red Bull team in 2023 as a third driver and return to the team with which he won 7 of his 8 Grand Prix, it had been speculated that the Australian may fill the position of Mercedes reserve for the upcoming season. According to F1 correspondent Lawrence Barretto, Mick Schumacher and his management team expedited negotiations they had tentatively started with Mercedes as soon as Haas head Günther Steiner informed the German that his his services were no longer necessary. They first held out hope that Logan Sargent might not get enough super license points to compete next year, but they recognized it was improbable. Toto Wolff, the head of Mercedes, was particularly open to working with Mick Schumacher because the Silver Arrows had previously given Michael Schumacher, Mick's father and a 7-time world champion, a path back to Formula One. Schumacher swiftly struck a deal with Mercedes as a result, bringing an end to his 4 years as a Ferrari junior. For Schumacher to avoid being forgotten, he needs to continue to play some sort of F1 role. In F1, things move quickly, so it was essential to be present at races to meet important people from around the paddock, and to put in a lot of time in the simulator to keep an eye on things. It will be difficult for him to return to the grid in 2024. However, the knowledge he will receive from working alongside 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, race winner George Russell, and one of F1's most formidable teams will only help him to strengthen his resume. And you can never predict the future. With the help of Haas, Nico Hülkenberg was able to rejoin this year. Kevin Magnussen and Esteban Ocon fared as well. Schumacher will cling to that in the hopes that he might emulate their success. According to a former driver, Mick Schumacher's choice to join Mercedes is advantageous for both sides. Ralf Schumacher, a former Formula One driver, claims that Mick Schumacher's decision to join Mercedes is a win-win situation for all parties. He asserted that Mick Schumacher may benefit much from working for a huge organization like Mercedes, and that the German team now had a superb driver available should they need him. Mick Schumacher has struggled to leave a lasting impact over his 2 years at Haas, since his teammate Kevin Magnussen has routinely outperformed him this season. Uncle of Mick Schumacher, Ralf Schumacher, is happy for the F2 champion. It's because he'll now have the chance to train with a team of experts. If Mercedes ever has to replace a driver, they will turn first to the former Haas driver. The former F2 champion will have a big impact on Mercedes simulator testing. He will work to help George Russell and Lewis Hamilton get back to the top of the sport in 2023. What is Mick Schumacher's best chance of making a full-time return to Formula One in 2024? Mick Schumacher intends to secure a full-time F1 ride for 2024 by utilizing his new position as Mercedes reserve driver. What practical options does he have, though? After breaking off his relationship with Ferrari and losing his full-time position at Haas, the 23-year-old German has joined Mercedes as their backup driver for the upcoming season. Nico Hülkenberg will now drive alongside Kevin Magnussen in Formula One in 2023. After a challenging sophomore season marred by a string of expensive accidents, Schumacher, the son of the illustrious 7-time F1 world champion Michael, declared his intention to prove everyone wrong. Schumacher intends to make a comeback in 2024 after being forced to sit out of competition in 2023. Where else might Schumacher wind up, given that Mercedes is extremely unlikely to offer him a race seat? There are probably just 2 viable solutions for him. Firstly, before signing F2 frontrunner Logan Sargent, Williams was linked to Schumacher, with ex-team president Jost Capito admitting that Schumacher was on their list of potential candidates for a spot in the 2023 F1 race, which finally went to Sargent. Schumacher would serve as a capable backup option if Sargent is unable to make a mark during his rookie F1 season, which is completely speculative. The same would apply if Alex Albon were to be taken by a competing squad and Williams needed to find a replacement. During his time at Brackley, Schumacher will learn a great deal about the Mercedes power unit and acquire invaluable insight into the inner workings of a leading F1 team, both of which will be helpful to Mercedes client Williams if they ever find themselves in need of a new driver. Albon acknowledged that his time spent at Red Bull as a test and reserve driver improved him as a driver before making his F1 comeback with the Grove-based team. Could Schumacher achieve a comparable career resurgence? Toto Wolff, the head of Mercedes, is another strong ally of Schumacher and could exert influence if he thought it would be in everyone's best interest. Secondly, Schumacher's F1 F1 team at Sauber, which will compete under the Alfa Romeo name until the end of 2023, may be his best chance of making a full-time comeback to the grid in 2024. In addition to committing to an engine program in line with the upcoming generation of power unit regulations, German automaker Audi will acquire Sauber and make the team its works F1 entry in 2026. Schumacher is the logical choice to fulfill Audi's wish to field a German driver in the team's lineup, now that Sebastian Vettel has retired, as Markus Duesmann, the company's chairman, has already indicated. After the arrival of former McLaren team manager Andreas Seidel, who will succeed Ferrari-bound Frederick Vasseur as CEO of the Sauber firm in 2023, a strong German influence will be seen in the team. The combination of Audi, Seidel, and Schumacher would give the German market a much-needed boost, and perhaps even help resurrect the German Grand Prix. Zhou Guanyu, despite having a solid rookie season, is likely to face greater pressure to maintain his position, given that Valtteri Bottas is committed to a multi-year contract. Zhou will need to improve his performance even more if he wants to stay in Formula One for the long term, especially in light of the disappointment of the Chinese Grand Prix being postponed for a fourth consecutive year. The door could open for Schumacher if Zhou performs poorly. That brings us to the end of today's video. What do you think about Mick Schumacher joining Mercedes as a reserve driver? Do you think he will be able to make a full-time comeback in 2024? Let us know in the comment section. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.